All right, so today we're going to get our hands dirty with one of the all-time classics, Aquinas' second way, the argument from efficient cause. The best way to think about it, really, is like we're detectives on a huge cosmic case. We're trying to find the ultimate explanation for, well, for everything.
And that's really the heart of the mystery, isn't it? It's a question you've probably kicked around in your own head. Why is there all this stuff? Stars, planets, you, me, instead of just nothing. It is the ultimate why question, and it's what drives both science and philosophy.
So, where does a detective even begin with a case this big? Well, you start with the first clue. And the first clue is something you see everywhere, all the time: cause and effect. Things don't just randomly pop into existence. They are made to happen.
Now, Aquinas has a specific name for this, which he borrows from Aristotle. He calls it the efficient cause. I know, it sounds a little technical, but it's actually dead simple. The efficient cause is just the thing that does the causing. You know, a painter is the efficient cause of a painting. A bat hitting a baseball is the efficient cause of the ball flying through the air. It's simply the answer to what made this happen.
And look, this is where you folks with a scientific mindset actually have a huge head start. I mean, the entire project of science is built on this foundation. You're always looking for the cause of a phenomenon, the cause of a reaction, the cause of an orbit. So this search for causes, that's our common ground. We're starting from the exact same observable reality.
Okay, so we've got our fundamental clue, the reality of efficient causes. Now we can do some real detective work. We can start to follow the trail. Where does this chain of what made this happen actually lead us?
Aquinas kicks things off with a pretty basic observation. He says, look around. We don't just see one-off cause and effect events. We see them linked together in a series, right? Thing A causes thing B, which then causes thing C, and so on and so on.
Now here's our first rule for this investigation. It's a point of logic. Can something cause itself? Aquinas says absolutely not. And think about it, the logic is totally solid. To be a cause, you have to exist first. To be an effect, you have to be brought into existence. So for something to cause itself, it would have to exist before it existed. It's just a straight-up contradiction. Impossible. He gives this classic example to show exactly what he means by an order of efficient causes. Just picture it. A hand moves a staff, and that staff, in turn, moves a stone. The stone's movement is caused by the staff's movement. The staff's movement is caused by the hand's movement. See? It's a chain of dependency.
So, we have this chain of causes. And this leads us to the real puzzle, the point where physics kind of takes a step back and metaphysics has to step in. Where does this chain end? Or maybe it doesn't.
And this is the million-dollar question. I know what you're probably thinking. Why can't it just be turtles all the way down? An infinite series of causes stretching back forever and ever. It seems possible, right? Especially when we're used to thinking about infinite time or space. But Aquinas is going to argue that there's a huge logical flaw in that idea.
Okay, to get what he's saying, we have to make a really, really important distinction. He's not talking about a historical chain, what we might call an accidental series. Think about a grandfather who has a son who has a son. My existence doesn't depend on my great-great-grandfather being alive right now. That's a chain over time. Aquinas is focused on an essential series, a chain of causes happening simultaneously, like the hand, the staff, and the stone. All three of those things have to be happening right now for the stone to move.
This is the absolute key to the whole argument. For that stone to be moving this very second, the staff has to be pushing it this very second, and the hand has to be pushing the staff this very second. The causal power is being transmitted through the whole chain. Right now, it is a chain of simultaneous dependency.
So it boils down to this fundamental principle, which is just common sense, right? If you remove the cause, the effect vanishes. If I take my hand away from the staff stops moving, and the stone immediately stops moving too. The whole causal event just collapses.
So let's apply that logic. If this chain of simultaneously dependent causes, the hand, staff, stone kind, went back infinitely, then there wouldn't be a first member of that series. There'd be nothing at the front of the line to get the whole process of causing started.
And if there's no first cause providing the initial push, then the second cause in the chain has nothing to pass on. And if the second one can't act, well, neither can the third, and so on, all the way down. An infinite chain of essential causes means nothing is actually happening. It's like a train with an infinite number of cars, but no engine. That train is not going anywhere.
But here's the reality check. Just look around. The stone is moving. Effects are happening.
The universe is buzzing with causal activity right now. Our direct experience completely contradicts the conclusion of an infinite chain. And if the conclusion is wrong, the premise must be wrong. The premise that the chain can go on forever has to be false.
So, if the chain can't go on forever, then it must have a beginning. And this brings us to the big reveal in our detective story. We've just identified our prime suspect.
Simple logic just demands it. There has to be something that stands at the very beginning of the chain, something that causes other things to happen but isn't itself caused by anything before it. A first, an uncaused cause. And this, Aquinas concludes, is what everyone understands when they use the word God, not just another link in the chain, but the ultimate source of the entire chain itself.
But whoa, hold on. Before anybody jumps to conclusions about bearded guys on clouds, we have to be extremely precise here. Remember, this is a philosophical argument. The conclusion is very, very specific about what it's claiming.
The first cause that Aquinas is talking about isn't just the first domino. It's not another being inside the universe. It's the ultimate reason the universe, the whole chain of cause and effect, exists at all. It's the source of what he calls esse, the very act of existing. This first cause doesn't just start things moving, it's the unchanging reality that holds everything in existence, right here, right now. It's the answer to that first question we asked. Why is there something rather than nothing?
So here's the thought I want to leave you with. Science is absolutely brilliant at investigating the links in the chain, how one thing causes another. But can it ever, even in principle, answer the question of why there is a chain at all? Aquinas' argument suggests that to find the source of the chain, you might need a different tool set. So you have to wonder, are science and philosophy just two different ways of looking at reality? Or are they trying to answer two fundamentally different kinds of questions?